Hello.
And welcome
To Sort of the Story.
I'm Janey.
I'm Max.
And these are our very different voices. Do you know who we are yet?
There's going to be a pop quiz at the end where you have to identify us based on our voice alone. It will be as part of a police lineup because we have committed lots of crimes recently.
But that's for another episode. For this episode, Max and I will be telling each other some stories.
And also, you're here.
Oh my god.
We're so glad you're here. It's kind of weird that you're here, but
yeah,
we're,
a little bit of a pee-pee Tom. They don't understand that.
They don't understand that. We just started watching an old miniseries called The Legend of the Leprechauns or something.
It's something like that. I always thought that it was called Fairies and Leprechauns. Now, if you're from, if you were born in, 1991, like both Alex and I were, you probably watched this and you're now having a weird recovered, flashback of, Romeo and Juliet, really bad CGI harness work. Whoopi Goldberg is a crow. What?
She's an owl, so...
She's a crow.
No.
She absolutely is not an owl, Max. Max watched this last night, already forgot.
I'm 100% sure that it's an owl.
I'm leaving all this in.
Point being...
Should I put in leprechauns?
They keep calling one of these characters a peeping Tom.
Peeping Tom! Magical Legend of the Leprechauns.
Magical Legend of the Leprechauns. So we've been watching that, and it's wild. It's absolutely wild, and we love it. But yeah, so that's where Pee-Pee Tom comes from, and that's totally unrelated to the events of this episode, which you're about to listen to.
Woo! It's not... I have none of them in her bird form, but she looks like this, and she turns into a crow.
I'm so sure that she turns into an owl.
Well, we haven't watched the second episode with Max yet, so I'm excited for you guys to... I'm going to record her reaction as she sees her turn into
I'm in my pajamas, and I have no intention of appearing as a human being today.
Yeah, they won't expect that anyway. Neither does Whoopi. She's a crow.
She's not, but it's fine.
Anyway.
Pee-Pee Tom is unrelated to this episode. You may have heard a couple of weeks ago our episode where I said piss 30,000 times. Go back and listen to that one if you didn't already, if you want to hear us talk about Pee-Pee Tom, but from the past, from before we knew about Pee-Pee Tom. A character that we invented.
Pee-Pee Tom? Okay, all that's gonna get cut.
That's fine.
But I am going to record when you actually see her turn into a crow, as if my whole childhood is a lie. She's an owl. She's not. She's the Grand Banshee.
Are you sure?
I am.
Are you sure?
I'm literally 1,000% positive. She is not an owl.
Okay. We'll find out. I'm going to record Janey finding out that she's fucking wrong.
This is true French.
It's just going to be us watching this show with our phones pointed at each other, sitting
not
there
watching
angrily.
And then we're both wrong and she's the fucking whippoorwill. What the fuck is that?
Whoopi the whippoorwill.
Oh, Whoopi! Whoopi Goldberg, if you want to come on the podcast, you are literally always 100% welcome in this home. Just walk right in.
Hey, Whoopi, if you see a home and you think it might be ours, just go on in.
Whoopi, I think that you should just walk into homes whenever you want.
Anyway. So anyways, we're going to tell each other some stories today. This podcast is not for children. There is language, there is occasionally violence, and other complicated topics that probably a child doesn't want to hear about.
You're not going to want to explain to your child.
But also, why is your kid listening to podcasts? Does your kid also listen to NPR? Come on.
Did you just compare our podcast to NPR?
I did. And I stand by it.
Huh.
What the hell kind of weird kid listens to podcasts?
That really, mentally stimulating episode of NPR where the host, I can't remember his name, I don't know if you listen to NPR, but he had that entire episode where he debates whether or not Whoopi Goldberg is a crow or an owl in the movie The Magical Legend of the Leprechauns.
I did a course at Columbia University where I was studying to join the publishing industry. I didn't go to Columbia University, but I was at Columbia University for a summer program, specifically to enter the publishing industry. And one of the things that kept coming up was everyone was like, hey, you really have to listen to the new books segment on NPR, keep up with that because it's a really good way to keep an eye on market trends and stuff like that. And so there was a 2-week period where I was living in New York City and listening to NPR. And after that 2-week period, I was like, I can't fucking do this. I'm not built for this industry. I can't listen to NPR anymore.
Because they kept telling her that Whoopi Goldberg was a crow and Max is in extreme denial.
That's true.
Can't do it. I do. Every time I meet somebody who's like, my favorite podcast, I don't listen to podcasts, but when I do, it's definitely NPR. I'm always like, it's just me and you in here, right? I won't be impressed if you say anything else, you can just tell me the truth.
Yeah, and I feel like nobody's ever been like, you know what I really want to listen to? Fresh air. I'm really just craving some fresh air.
Well, it's like the people who are like, I don't have a lot of time to read, but I do really enjoy reading cover to cover my New York Times magazine as it comes in. Like, no, you don't. Nobody does.
I had a subscription to...
Did I say New York Times? New Yorker.
New Yorker,
I meant the New
yes.
Yorker.
Okay, that was what happened to me.
Yeah. No, I
Just
got
hurt
into
my
I incepted
brain.
your brain and
Yeah.
it rotted a little.
I had a subscription to the New Yorker for like 3 years, and I have never read an issue of the New Yorker. So I
Nobody
just had a
has.
stack of New Yorkers that I had to move with 3 times.
They could honestly,
Ugh.
and they should, put like recipes for apple pie and stuff like that in the middle of their fucking articles, and no one would notice. Everyone would be like, oh my god, did you read that amazing article on like the transatlantic slave trade and blah blah blah, and everyone's like, oh my god, I did, especially the beginning and the end, so good. And meanwhile they're just like, anyway, and here's a recipe for fucking strudel. I don't know, man. I'm going through it. My grandma fucking disowned me last night.
I love the idea of a New Yorker writer who really needs therapy and is taking it out on the world.
But no one
with
knows.
the assumption that nobody reads their article.
Nobody is reading their cries for help.
Anyways, print media is dead, and
It always has been, though. I don't think, like, prove me wrong. If you've read anything
Please
front
don't.
to back of the New Yorker,
Please don't
email
prove-
us at sortofthestory@gmail.com.
I really don't want to have to read emails about New Yorker articles.
You don't read the emails. I read the emails.
Yeah, and then
I
you
want
read
to
them to me.
Every single fucking little word. We do get a lot of nice emails. Guys, you're so sweet. I do read them out loud to Max, like a bedtime story.
Yeah, it's really cute and
Yeah,
nice.
It's really nice. And cute.
And great.
Oh, wow.
So, anyways, you can also email us at sortofthestory@gmail.com if you want to tell us about a New Yorker article that you read that we absolutely will not read the email about, or the article that you're referencing.
I will read it. If the article has a recipe for, like, a bomb apple pie, I'll also read that. The recipe, not the rest of the article. I'm not a fucking psycho. Anyway, and seamless transition, also follow us on Instagram at sortofthestory.
And also on Twitter and TikTok and Goodreads at Sort of a Story. And also, all of our books are available both on Goodreads and also on bookshop.org, which is a really great website that lets you shop independent bookstores in your area and around the country, which basically just means that those independent bookstores make money and Amazon doesn't. So check out bookshop.org for all of your book buying needs.
Oh, we
love them.
I've definitely talked a lot of shit on Amazon. I've been thinking about this a lot. I've talked a lot of shit on
Autobots?
I've talked a lot of shit about Autobots. I'm here to tell you, Megatron, for an hour. No.
What is this podcast about?
I don't know. We're losing the thread. I've talked a lot of shit about Amazon. However, I use Amazon constantly. The goal is to use it less for the things that you don't have to use it for.
Yes.
So just so you know, I'm not judging anyone who uses Amazon. It's the most convenient, fastest way, and you're still practicing social distancing, which is amazing. So.
Yeah, but also buy books at bookshop.org instead. Additionally, speaking of losing the thread and Autobots, did you guys know that there was a Transformer whose name was Rung, and they are simply a stick that is potentially a part of a rung of a ladder? That's a fun Transformers fact for you.
I really don't like to correct you. As you all know, I've never once corrected Max ever, except that Whoopi was in fact a crow. But while Rung was a stick, wasn't part of a ladder, was actually Megatron's penis, and they thought that was inappropriate for a children's movie. You know who fought for that, though? Shia LaBeouf wanted that representation.
That's not surprising.
He's like, it's time to answer the age-old question, does Bumblebee have a dick? Anyway, I'm excited to tell you my story today.
Okay. I'm just here.
Welcome.
All right, Janey. You want to tell me a story? Go ahead and do it.
I'm gonna fucking tell you. You don't even fucking know. Am I going first?
I think so. Yes.
I really should figure this out before. It's an odd episode. I thought I went on even episodes, so now I'm all sorts of turnaround.
Yeah, but we did another 2 episode, 1 episode.
We did. So I go first.
You go first.
Okay, guys, get fucking ready. Bow, 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 bow.
I like this adult baby woman who is on the cover of this book, and also that she's making a monkey and a rabbit kiss. Is that what I'm seeing?
She really does look like she's intensely watching, like, weird animal pornography. She's got, like, two very sexual peaches next to her that look like boobs.
They do look like... No, those are persimmons.
Sure. Whatever helps you sleep at night, Max.
Here's the question. Are you a peach guy or a persimmon guy?
Furry peach boy. So, this is a book that Max has already described the weird cover for, called Japanese Folktales, Classic Stories from Japan's Enchanted Past. It's compiled by Yae Theodora Ozaki, forward by Lucy Fraser. I don't know if that's important, because I didn't really read the forward. Whoops. And there's a bunch of really nice little illustrations. Turning the page. By someone else.
He mounted the dragon. Page 65. Okay. Done. Here we go. Oh, okay. Well, that's disappointing, I'll be honest.
Also, misleading. It says he, and there's like 12 people on that dragon. That's Jesus and all the apostles.
Yeah, this dragon looks like one of those like moving sidewalks in the airport that just has a dragon head on it, and all of the guys are just on his back, standing there like they're waiting to get somewhere in an airport.
Okay, so Yae Theodora Ozaki compiled this in 1903, and there is a lovely translation, and I think Lucy Fraser just helped with the translations and stuff. So the story I'm going to tell you today, Max, is called The Story of the Man Who Did Not Wish to Die. And it's from this book, Japanese Folktales, Classic Stories from Japan's Enchanted Past.
Okay, so that's just... I think that's just most guys, though.
I mean, not Gen Z.
That's true.
Gen Z is the first one that's like, I can't wait to not be here anymore. I am simply a waste of resources that have already been wasted before I was born.
Woo!
This podcast is not for kids.
This is fresh air.
Damn it! Oh, every time I get tricked into hosting fresh air. It's actually fresh H-E-I-R.
Like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah. Anyway, long ago, there was a man named Sentaro. My accent's gonna be fucking garbage. Imagine somebody that grew up in Missouri telling you a Japanese story. And that's me. You don't have to imagine it anymore.
It's happening.
It's real.
This is featured on this podcast. Someone who grew up in Missouri.
Telling you a story about Japan. So long ago, there was a man named Sentaro. His surname, Max, meant millionaire. Oh. Fresh air indeed. And while he was not as rich as all that, Max, the story does make a point to say, quote, he was very far removed from being poor. That's a polite way to say that he was entitled as fuck.
Must be nice.
You ready for a story about a guy who inherits a bunch of money?
Sure am. You betcha.
Good. Because he had inherited a bunch of money after his dad died. And he lived really lazily on that for, like, years. He was just very comfortable. He never worked a day in his life. He just kind of lazed around. He did what he wanted. Sounds like the dream.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. This all kind of like, everything was handed to him. He was kind of a spoiled brat until he was about 32. And that year, for no reason that he could think of, he became obsessed with death. He was like, oh no, I'm gonna die one day.
This is relatable, actually.
It's fucking bullshit. So far, every part of this. Like, I want to make fun of him, but yeah, about 32.
Yeah. You ever just go through a period in your life where you're, like, obsessed with the concept of death?
Yeah. Yeah. And it comes around this time.
Yeah.
So his anxiety grew worse and worse until it was the only thing he could think about. It was keeping him up at night. He just could not figure out a way out of this. He was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. So he tells himself, like, I want to live to be like 500 or 600 years old. Like, normal human lifespans is fucking stupid. It's too short. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'm really rich. I should be able to get out of this. So,
do you know who my father is?
Don't you know who my father was? He died! Oh no! And then he spirals even deeper. He needs to talk to a therapist. So, instead of talking to a therapist, he read a bunch of stories about people who lived extraordinarily long lives. He knows there was an emperor who was said to have lived 1,000 years, and a princess of Yamato, who was said to have lived to be about 500 years old. So, and then I wrote, and still never queen? I don't know, man. Must not have been that good of a princess. Is your life even really worth living?
Yikes.
So, he then remembered another story about a little Chinese underdog named Qin Shi Huang.
Okay.
Yeah. In this story, they use his Japanese name, which is Shin no Shiko, but I'm going to call him Qin Shi Huangdi because that's the name that we all know him by. Or maybe I just know him by that name because I studied Chinese for 4 years and then lived in China for 3 years. I can never tell.
I've heard the name before, but I also studied Chinese for 2 years.
And that's what I'm thinking. I think that we're just very, like, uniquely set up to know who Qin Shi Huang is.
Yeah.
Imagine yourself listening to a girl who was raised in Missouri talking about a little-known man named Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi. Sentaro remembered that he was one of the most powerful rulers in Chinese history. He had huge, beautiful palaces, and, Max, he built the Great Wall of China. Ever heard of it?
No.
Okay, so there's this Great Wall. And
how great is it?
It's pretty great, and it's in China.
Wow.
Even though he had everything he could have ever wished for, this emperor was obsessed with death. He didn't want to die. He thought about it constantly. It was constantly nagging at him. He was dreaming about it. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I mean, he still ate and slept pretty well.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was a little nagged by the idea that he was going to die. Didn't think he should have to. He's Qin Shi Huangdi. At night, he tosses and turns. He thinks to himself, I wish I could find the mythical elixir of life. If I could just find that, then I could live forever. Everyone loves me. I'm doing a great job. I should be able to take it with me. So he meets with his courtiers one day, and he tells them, somebody go out and find me the elixir of life. No wrong answers. Let's brainstorm. What can we do? And everyone's like, except that that's not a real thing. That's our first thing.
Huangdi, I don't know how to tell you.
And then he brought out his bazooka and he blew that guy away. So an older courtier named Jofuku steps forward and tells him that in a faraway land, there's a country called Horizon, which is just the word horizon. My computer kept autocorrecting it. Horaizan. Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
All one word. There were hermits in Horizon who possessed the mythical elixir of life. And whoever drank it, Max, could live forever. Tinkling sound here. Ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding.
Oh my god, it's BB time.
We're doing Maturna Watch anything. So, the emperor... The older we get, the worse we are.
I mean, that's what the thesis of this story is.
The emperor sends Jofuku to Horizon as quickly as possible, giving him, this is a quote, one of his best junks. I think it's a boat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Filled with treasures and riches to trade. But even though Jofuku did set out for Horizon with good intentions, he never came back. Allegedly, he found the hermits, took the elixir for himself, and then was, like, praised as a god and never left. Allegedly. So,
allegedly.
Sentaro remembers this story. He's like, oh yeah, I do remember that entire goddamn story. And he tells himself, like, I'm gonna go find the hermits, and I'm gonna ask them if I can become one of them. So I can take the elixir, and I can live forever. So he leaves his home to his relatives, and he sets out to hike Mount Fuji, because, allegedly, Horizon is Mount Fuji. There's a shrine up there dedicated to Jofuku, and he's like, that's where I gotta go. So... pretty convenient for him. I think he lives pretty close to Mount Fuji. So He starts hiking. He travels for days and days, and finally he comes across a hunter, okay? And he asks very politely, excuse me, sir. That's not a bit. That was in character, though. I'm basically Daniel Day-Lewis. He says, excuse me, sir. Have you seen the hermits who have the elixir of life? To which the hunter responds, no, but I have seen a notorious robber who's the chief of more than 200 followers. Isn't that crazy?
That's not what I asked.
That's what he says. He says, that's not what I fucking asked you. And so, Sentaro it says in the story, he's annoyed because this isn't helpful or at all what he asked for.
Right.
And so he keeps going until he reaches the shrine of Jofuku. This man never comes back, and we never see this fucking... This robber. That's not part of the story.
He was just waiting to tell someone about this. He was like, oh man, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna tell everyone about this robber who has 200 guys.
And then he meets a fucking rich kid on the bike and he's like, I can't wait to tell you.
And guess what else?
I don't care. But also, doesn't this make the story seem real now that there's something that doesn't matter in it?
Yes.
It's like adding a detail that doesn't matter. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. This is how my day went.
No, but I did have noodles for breakfast.
That's crazy.
I know.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Anyway. Which way to the hospital? My daughter is dying. Noodles! In the morning!
Crazy!
So, Sentaro, after being annoyed that this man just wasted his fucking time,
right.
he reaches the shrine with zero problems at all. And I'm like, why did you ask for directions if you knew where you were going?
I feel like that's included in the story because he also wanted everyone telling this story to also waste their time. It's like, this guy's gonna waste my time. He's gonna waste everyone's time for hundreds of years hence.
You know what? Fuck you guys. That's what he says, not me. I would never. So he keeps going. He reaches the shrine and he starts praying for 7 days straight. Now, I'm realizing just now that the shrine wasn't his end goal. He wanted to find the hermits. They weren't at the shrine. They just built the shrine. So he's praying to Jofuku, who is worshipped as God, and he's like, show me the way to the hermits so that they can give me what I want to find. And at midnight on the 7th day, as he's kneeling in front of the shrine, the doors on the innermost part of the shrine fly open, and in a luminous, swirling cloud, Jofuku himself appears before Sentaro. He calls out to him with this heavenly voice to come closer, and Sentaro gets closer, and then he leans in and tells him, what the fuck is wrong with you? You think you deserve to be a hermit? You're a selfish little rich piss boy. You've never worked a day in your life, you fucking little piece of shit. And also, more accurately, and this is a quote from the actual book, but that just, this guy fucking lays into this kid. So here's like,
come closer. You fucking suck, dude. Has anyone ever told you that you fucking suck?
Go fuck yourself, bud. Okay, so here's a quote that he actually says after that. He does basically call him a little rich piss boy, but then he says, do you know how hard a hermit's life is? A hermit is only allowed to eat fruit and berries and the bark of pine trees. A hermit must cut himself off from the world so that his heart may become as pure as gold and free from every earthly desire. Gradually, after following these strict rules, the hermit ceases to feel hunger or cold or heat, and his body becomes so light that he can ride on a crane or a carp, and he can walk on water without getting his feet wet. You little piss boy.
Can you do any of that shit? Can you?
Can
no?
you?
Get the fuck out. Stop wasting my time.
You might as well just go and try to find a robber who has 200 followers on Twitter. So he also tells Sentaro that, you know, he reminds him, hermits don't feel hot or cold or hunger or pain. But then he makes a point, and this was offensive to me. He makes a point to say Sentaro was even more sensitive to temperatures than normal people, and that he would never cut it as a hermit.
Janey, you would never cut it as a hermit.
I wouldn't be able to be a hermit. I'd be too cold.
We live in Savannah, Georgia.
It's so fucking freezing.
It is the beginning of September. It was 100 2 different days this week, and Janey is wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt.
And socks.
And
so
2
cold.
shirts under the sweatshirt, I think.
I genuinely might be sick. I have been trying to get an appointment for the last year, but we live in Savannah, Georgia, and no doctors want to see anyone. Okay.
Also, socks and slippers right now is what you're wearing.
That's true. I'm just so dainty and bird-boned. Oh, I'm so cold.
I, for contrast, to paint you a little picture here of us recording, I am wearing a t-shirt.
A bikini. A string bikini. And high heels. In our own goddamn house. Inappropriate.
And I am pulling it off. I'm wearing a t-shirt, pajama shorts, and no shoes because I'm sweating. It is so hot in this house. It is 75 degrees in this house.
We're like the heat miser and the cold miser.
We are.
We should be that for Halloween. How cute.
I already have orange hair, and it's kind of spiky.
Yeah, and I'm blue. I'm so cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because you have, you're kind of sad sometimes.
I'm kind of sad.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I always thought I was the Joe Biden of our friendship. and you're the Trump.
Wow. What just happened?
Yeah, you little piss boy.
Hey, take it back.
No.
I'll kill you.
She might. Okay. I take it back. You're not the Trump.
Thank you.
You're the Hitler. No. Fuck. Okay.
You guys see what I have to deal with?
All right. So, where was I? Okay, however, so he tells him, you're going to be too cold to be a hermit, Janey. You can't be a hermit. Stop asking. And he says,
you fancy little piss boy, Janey.
And then he looks him in the face and says, you know what, though? Because I'm such a fucking amazing, merciful God, I'm going to go ahead and answer your prayers in another way. And I was like, the whiplash of this God. Like, you just fucking got, when are you going to give him anything? And he says, I'm going to go ahead and send you to the country of perpetual life, where people live forever. And I'm like, so you're just going to give him exactly what he wanted? Yeah. He didn't want to be a hermit. He wanted to live forever. He just thought his only option was to become a hermit.
Yes.
Anyway, so he places a little paper crane into Centauro's hand, and he tells him to hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
Fuck.
And the crane suddenly grows large enough for Centauro to sit on. And when he does that, it launches into the air and it begins to fly him thousands of miles to the land of perpetual life. It doesn't need to stop for food or water, and weirdly, Centauro also doesn't feel hungry or thirsty. He's a little chilly, but he's afraid to say anything now because he's been publicly shamed. When they get to the island, the crane, lands, he dismounts, and then it folds itself back up again and flies back into his pocket, which is very convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Centauro walks around the country and through the town. He's marveling at how the land and the people look, and they're all really strange to him, but they're all super hot and prosperous. And he's like, this is the place for me. I've made it. So he goes to a hotel, and he's like, I would like some lodging. And the manager is like, great, where are you from? And he's like, not from here. I'm actually a stranger visiting, and I think I'm going to try to live here forever. At which point the lodger is like, or the hotel manager is like, oh.
The concierge.
So how many nights can I book you for? No, the concierge says, cool. He goes to the governor and he helps him basically settle himself into this town. And he also helps him find a house because I guess he's also a realtor. And all his dreams come true. He's going to live forever. But it turns out that everyone in this country, Max, has an entirely different dream.
Mm-hmm.
They all want to fucking die. So, just imagine.
Sorry. I don't know how to process that. Who?
This story, you never know where this is. Please, you have the power to end this. Just a bunch of hot fucking models trying to kill themselves. So it turns out priests had come over from India and China, and I wrote, damn missionaries, and filled their heads with thoughts of dying, and after they die, they can enter this place called paradise, and everyone's like, that sounds great, how do we get there? And they're like, well, you have to die. And they're like, well, what's the one thing we can't do? Why would you come here and tell us this?
Yeah, that's a real dick move.
What's the point of coming here?
To go to a place where people specifically can't die, or even to go to really any place and be like, hey, have you ever thought about maybe you should perish?
I don't know what that means.
You ever thought about that?
I didn't ask to be born and then forever and not be able to die. I didn't ask for this. They would have aborted me. It doesn't exist. Because we don't know what that is. We all just live. This fucking sucks. Anyway, so everyone's real fucking salty about this. They don't really know what death is, but they know that they have to die in order to reach paradise, and so all day, every day, these beautiful young hotties attempt to kill themselves. So he's landed right in front of, a really weird suicide ring, where nobody can die, so they're all just constantly jumping off cliffs and shit.
This sounds super fun.
Yeah. They drink poisons instead of eating food. It only makes them hotter and thinner. And, they look younger than ever before, and they're like, damn it! I tried to get botulism and I just got Botox. This fucking sucks. This is a quote. He was in topsy-turvydom. And I was like,
Oh.
yes, classic Japanese. Everything was upside down, Max. And as everyone vainly tried to imagine what death was like, they just keep getting farther and farther from it, and they're all very frustrated. Meanwhile, he's in fucking heaven. He's like, this is great. I'm gonna live forever. Everyone's like 600 years old and counting, and they look great, and they can't even die if they wanted to. Perfect system. So, in some chemist shops, there's a drug that was in constant demand because it promised that, after taking it for 100 years, it would make your hair slightly gray.
Ooh.
But you have to take it for 100 years, and nobody can, like, pay attention to medication for that long. So, who knows if it works? As everyone knows. Then it says they ate sauces made of Spanish flies. Have you ever heard of Spanish fly?
I have.
Okay. So you know that, like, it was said to be this big aphrodisiac.
Mm-hmm.
I went down a rabbit hole, because I was like, why would they be eating that to try to die if it was, like, a huge aphrodisiac? So, I read an article that said, okay, it's said to be an aphrodisiac, but what it'll probably do is kill your desire forever. Because it's gonna kill you because it's deadly. Also, It's not a fly. It's a beetle.
Aren't flies beetles?
What?
It feels like something I should know, but...
Aren't cars horses? Fucking Max.
No?
Also, there's a weird thing that says, also apparently the Marquis de Sade gave a bunch of sex workers in the late 1800s Spanish fly pills, because he's like, it's gonna make you super horny. And this just, like, poisoned them from the inside out. Like, they just, like, fucking melted.
Yeah.
And he was sentenced to death for it.
Fun fact, guys, Marquis de Sade is where we get the word sadism.
Mm-hmm. Maybe because he poisoned all those sex workers.
Also did a bunch of other fucked up things.
Yeah. So, they also ate poisonous blowfish and just constantly tried to kill themselves all the time, and he loves it. He's the only happy man on the island. So he sets himself up in his house, he starts a business, and he goes about trying to live his eternal life. But after a couple 100 years, he started to get pretty tired of it. Things hadn't gone the way he wanted them to. He started having business troubles, he had several spats with his neighbors, which was super annoying, but, like, annoying forever. So that sucks. And he's always busy, like, because he's running his own business, he went from not working at all and living on an inheritance to working 24/7 and barely keeping his business afloat. So, like, money problems and being tired and stressed all the time and having no end in sight starts to fucking get to him. Mm-hmm.
Relatable.
Time is passing pretty quickly, but it doesn't matter if time is passing quickly because there's no finish line.
Mm-hmm.
It's just passing quickly to nothing. So one day, he decides, he's like, I want to see my own land. I want to see my own home. That's it. So he says a prayer to Jofuku. He's like, take me home. And the paper crane leaps from his pocket suddenly. And he's like, whoa, it doesn't look any different. It's not dirty. It's not bent. It's just like perfectly white paper crane, big enough for him to ride. So he climbs on its back and they start to make their way away from the land of perpetual life. And no sooner had he left than this fickle little asshole starts to be like, nope, never mind. I made a mistake. I made us turn around, bird. Turn us around. And the bird's like, I'm a bird. So I don't know what any of that means.
I don't speak English or Japanese.
I'm just paper. If you maybe write me a message. Oh, you didn't bring a pen? Anyway. So it keeps flying. And when they're over the ocean, there's a loud crack of thunder, and he looks up, and it starts to rain. And the paper bird gets wet and starts to, like, crumple up, and then it just kind of falls into the ocean with Sentaro on its back. So now he's just in the water. He, like, cries out loudly for Jofuku to save him, and he swallows a bunch of seawater in the process, and he's treading water, and he's trying to stay afloat, and these huge waves are taking him. And then suddenly, he sees it. A huge, dark shadow of a giant shark coming right towards him. And he screams as loudly as he can as this fucking shark opens its mouth, ready to devour him. And suddenly he wakes up.
God damn it!
And he was in front of the shrine in the hermit's temple.
God.
This is just the ending of Breaking Dawn. Part 2.
Oh my god.
He's back in the temple on Mount Fuji. He's cold with sweat. He's utterly bewildered. And the bright light shines on him. And in the light, suddenly, a messenger appears, holding a book in his hand. And he tells Sentaro, I was sent to you by Jofuku, who has a message for you. You really think you deserve eternal life, you little piss boy garbage baby? He let you see what it'd be like to live forever, and you pussied at us after only 300 years? Oh, you fucking suck. And then when you decide to leave, you change your mind because your desire for death wasn't even real. You can't commit to anything. Pick a fucking lane, you little piece of shit doll boy. Anyway, I did write all this down. I will be reading the rest of the monologue. And you thought you deserved to become a hermit? A fucking hermit? Nah, man. You should eat shit and die, you fucking rich kid who's never worked a day in his life. The audacity. The entitlement. We should fucking eat the rich. Get out of here, do something with your pathetic life. And then he spits on him and he throws the literal book at him and he's like, here, this has a bunch of fucking proverbs in them. Memorize them. And then he poofs and he disappears. The last thing it is said to remain of this, like, angel is his middle finger disappearing into the light.
And a fart that he released viciously moments before disappearing.
May it
as an
linger
attack.
for 1,000 years. So Sentaro takes this lesson to heart. He goes back to his old home. He gives up all his vain desires. He learns to live a good and useful life. And he reads that book every fucking day. It was probably the Bible, let's be honest. And he prospers. The end.
So, I'm angry that we had it was all a dream moment.
But wasn't it made better by the fact that an angel was there to kick the shit out of him verbally?
That did make it a lot better. Absolutely.
I like that this was a story about how fucking annoying the children of billionaires are. Our protagonist is such a piece of shit. He's so fucking entitled, and he gets his ass handed to him by angels.
Also, he has to, like, work at a job.
And he learns that fucking
and then he's
sucks.
like, I want to die!
So good. So here's my notes real quick about Qin Shi Huangdi. Emperor Qin Shi Huang. Di is the honorific. So just in case you don't know, and even if you do, it's fascinating, listen to this again. He was a controversial emperor between 259 and 210 BC. While he did unite China with one written language, which is pretty cool and obviously has had huge effects on the world today. He also burned all the books that criticized his brutal leadership, and apparently he, like, killed, like, 500 scholars. Like, he was just kind of, like, murdering left and right. He did build the Great Wall, which looks pretty cool, but, like, countless workers died during it, and it didn't even fucking work.
Yeah, it's not great as a wall.
No. Also, you can't see it from space. Whoever told you that fucking lied. Also, the moon is more than a mile away. Whoever told me that fucking lied.
I don't think anybody told you that.
He did a lot of other things too, but that's the topic for a special episode. But here's the thing on immortality, because this is a story that mentions him. As the story did say, he was obsessed with the idea of living forever. He even had his tomb surrounded by thousands of terracotta warriors, servants, horses and chariots, and even entertainers, like jugglers and acrobats. Because he's like, they'll entertain me forever.
And one stand-up comedian.
Oh my god, and that guy's way in the back. That's actually his stepson. It's so embarrassing. I didn't know this. I mean, I should have known this. I don't know why I didn't. But all of these thousands of terracotta warrior statues, they were made by 700,000, quote, forced labor conscripts. Or slaves.
Yeah.
Slaves.
Yeah.
They were meant to stand guard over him in the afterlife. And this is something wild.
Mm-hmm.
He died on September 10th. Which is today.
Today.
Happy Death Day, Qin Shi Huang! You son of a bitch. He died consuming mercury. He had been drinking it thinking that it was the elixir of life, and it fucking killed him. The irony is precious.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this is a weird detail. The last thing I'm going to say.
I like to imagine it. He was like, elixir of life, and it was like an Emperor's New Groove thing where he was like drinking it, and then he was like, what's wrong with this label? And it says elixir of life ending.
No!
That's just poison. Why would you phrase it like that?
Poison? It was supposed to be the elixir of life. Okay. Also, here's a really weird detail that I've never heard before, and I say fact checked, but I spent 3 minutes trying to find it in another article, and I did find it.
Okay.
So, take this how you will. In 2011, in 211, in 211 BC, a large meteor fell in Dongjun, representing an ominous sign for the emperor. This is real. A meteor fell down and crashed into a city in China. And he was like, fuck, that seems like a sign. Woo. What followed, they went searching, in it, they were looking, and inside the wreckage, there was a stone with the words, quote, "The first emperor will die and his land will be divided." The emperor ordered everyone in the vicinity to be executed because no one would confess to this crime. And apparently that's real.
Wow.
Yeah. I love that somebody pranked the emperor. Don't love that everyone else had to die for it. But yeah, kind of fun. A meteor came down and told him he was going to die.
But it didn't kill him?
No.
I feel like if a meteor was going to,
No.
I mean...
This is your whole thing about not wishing for a ring that has power.
Yeah, you just wish for the power.
Yeah, somebody was like, I wish a meteor would come down and tell the emperor that he would die. And, there's a genie somewhere like, no, just ask for the emperor to die.
Or even ask for the emperor to be hit by a meteor and die.
Oh, you know what? But you can't wish for somebody to die.
You can wish for a meteor to fall down on him, and if he survives that, then, maybe you should pick someone else to pick a fight with.
I guess. Anyway, and that's the story of the man who did not wish to die.
Wow. What a tale.
Isn't that kind of fun?
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And weirdly enough, I didn't embellish at all. I was reading just quote for quote.
I've been meaning to ask you this. What is the Japanese term for a little piss boy?
A little piss boy. It's a little piss boy. You say all one word.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you want to take a break?
I sure do.
Bye.
Bye.
Tell me a tale.
Oh, I'm ready to tell you a tale.
Excited.
So this story, I read it, I liked it, I chose it, and then I found out it's a very famous story.
Okay.
So, just so you know, you may have heard this tale before.
It's the most beautiful book I've ever seen.
We say that a lot, but this is a very beautiful book. So this book is called Russian Tales, Traditional Stories of Quests and Enchantments. It's one of those chronicle books collections that we love so much, where an illustrator pulls together a bunch of folklore and then does illustrations for each of the little folktales. This one is illustrated by Dinara Mitalipova, who is from Uzbekistan.
Oh.
So she illustrated this collection. It's really beautiful. Each one of the folktales has a little illustration.
It's
I'll
so
show you this one.
Decorative and beautiful.
Yeah, it's very traditional, Slavic style art, folk art kind of looking, but it's very, very cute, and I absolutely love it. So the story that I'm going to tell you today is called Frost. This is in this book, and again, this book is Russian Tales, Traditional Stories of Quests and Enchantments.
I'm Mr. Snow Miser.
Yeah.
You're just telling me that story?
I am.
So fun.
The illustration for this picture just looks like the Snow Miser. So it's in this collection. It was collected by the illustrator from Russian Fairy Tales by William Ralston Shedden Ralston in 1887. That's the version that is here. It's a work in translation.
It was collected by the illustrator?
No, the original story in 1887 was translated and published by William Ralston Shedden Ralston.
Okay.
And then it's in this book here, Russian Tales, illustrated by Dinara Mirtalipova.
Awesome.
Yeah, so previous to its collection in 1887, though, it was published after it was published by William Ralston Shedden Ralston, it was published in The Yellow Fairy Book by Andrew Lang in 1894. Previous to both of those, it was published sometime between 1855 and 1863 in Narodnya Ruskaya Skazki by Alexander Afanasyev. Whew.
This is gonna be...
I took Russian in college.
Just remember me saying Centauro.
Centauro.
Oh my god, Centauro. So, you sound fluent.
Thanks. So, this story is also called Morozko, which means frost in Russian.
Sure.
There is a Russian film of the same name that came out in 1964, which was spoofed by both Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Riff Tracks.
Okay.
So I have a link in the show notes for this to a little clip of the Mystery Science Theater spoof of the movie of this, because the movie looks fucking ridiculous, and I'm really excited.
We should watch it.
Yeah, I want to watch it really badly.
Yeah.
It looks super silly.
It's Soviet era film?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love Soviet films so much.
Yeah, this is a Soviet film from 1964. It's wild and great. And and I'll tell you more about this story after I tell you this story.
Okay.
And that's the story.
Okay.
So, once upon a time, there was an old man. He had a wife and 3 daughters.
Okay.
The oldest daughter was his wife from a previous marriage. The younger 2 were... What? Hang on.
What did you just say? His oldest daughter was his
I'm going to
wife
start over.
from a previous marriage.
There was an old man.
Yes.
He had a wife and he had 3 daughters. The oldest daughter was his daughter from a previous marriage.
Okay.
The younger 2 were his daughters with his current wife.
Okay.
So, the oldest daughter, her name was Marfa. Her stepmother hated her.
Yeah, as stepmothers do.
Yeah, as in any folk tale, stepmothers just hate the oldest daughter, the stepdaughter.
Everyone knows that. It's a tale as old as time. I almost told you a stepmother and stepdaughter story, and I chose a different one from this book. Just so you know. It would have been the same story. Go ahead.
So she, the stepmother makes Marfa, the stepdaughter, do all the work in the household. She's up before the crack of dawn doing all these chores, and then, she works all day long, and no matter what she does, her stepmother finds something wrong with it, where she's like, okay, well... Sure, I mean, you did clean out all of the stables before any of us were even awake, but my hairbrush is in the wrong place. So, I mean, are you just lazy or are you stupid?
Oh, no. Marfa.
So in this translation of the story, it says, like, Marfa tries not to complain, but she is, like, they're never grateful to her for all the work that she does. And her stepmother says to her, what a lazy bones, what a slut.
Okay, but isn't the old meaning of the word slut
like a lazy person?
A lazy, messy woman?
Yes.
Specifically, like,
I just love, what a lazy bones, what a slut.
You slut.
So her stepmother is weirdly slut-shaming her just for, like, doing chores. I'm sorry, I'm already interrupting, but I would like to remind everyone, I don't know if I've said this here, but, like, when I was little, my mom used to call me a liberal as an insult, and it'd be like, oh, look at your messy room, you're such a liberal. I'd be like, what? So I genuinely thought it was a curse word. I was like, oh my god, my mom is cursing at me. And later on I grew up and I was like, oh my god, she just doesn't know what the word liberal means. Anyway, a very your mom thing.
I grew up in Missouri.
So Marfa's stepmother is always terrible to her. Her 2 younger stepsisters learned from their mother to be terrible to her. So they are, like, they wake up late and they don't do anything all day long except for bitch at Marfa and, like, tell her that she's not doing a good job and make her cry.
Yeah.
Yes. So we just watched Ever After and Ella Enchanted this week.
What a fucking cool duo.
Yeah. Both great movies, but this is, like, a similar kind of setup, which is part of the reason why I wanted to tell it to you.
Yes. It's on the mind. Both are good. Good. Go do a double feature of Ella Enchanted and Ever After. It's just going to make you feel good.
Yeah, it's so good. So, Marfa is, like, always on the brink of tears because everyone is so mean to her all the time. Her father is older, so he's kind of frail, and he feels really bad for her, but he can't or won't do anything about it. Sure. So he's kind of just like, sorry. While they're, like, yelling at her and kicking the shit out of her.
Yeah, no, apology not accepted.
So when Marfa reaches an age to be married, her father, feels really bad for her, and he's like, we gotta find her a good match so that she can kind of get out of here. Like, I want her to have a happy life. Yeah. I don't want her to be in this household anymore. And so he goes to the stepmother and is like, I really want Marfa to be married. It's time, and I think that, we can find her someone really good to be with. And the stepmother is like, yeah, let's get her out of here. Get fucked.
Let's get rid of Marfa. I also hate her husband. Me too. Same as you.
The father is like, she's really hardworking. She's really sweet. She's very clever. She never complains. And I really think we can find her a great husband. And the stepmom is like, yeah, a great for sure. Somewhere super far away where I don't have to look at her ugly face. So the stepmother is like, all right, here's the plan. Father, get up early. Take Marfa on the sledge with a basket of her things and get her all dressed up nice to be married. First thing tomorrow morning, you're going away for a visit. And Marfa is so excited. She's like, I can't believe I get to go on a trip. She, like, gets herself all cleaned up. She puts on a fresh dress. She, like, gets to like do herself up all fancy and everything like that. She looks gorgeous. She has all of her favorite things in a basket, and she can barely sleep that night because she's so excited to go like somewhere else. So the next morning comes, and she comes down for breakfast, and her father splits some bread with her and everything. And then the stepmother wakes up and brings Marfa some cold leftover cabbage soup. And she says, "There, my pigeon, eat and be off. I've looked at you quite enough."
You slut.
You slut. There's nothing more insulting than giving someone old, nasty cabbage soup for breakfast in the morning in Russia in wintertime.
I mean, I don't imagine them eating anything else. Like, what else do they have? That bread that they split. So she already had the bread and she has some of the cabbage soup. I feel like she's eating like a king.
So, I also hate cabbages. So,
okay with
so this is my
soup.
nightmare.
I like a good soup.
I feel like a cabbage soup should not be qualified as a soup.
I'm gonna make you cabbage soup.
I don't want you to. Please
Turn
don't.
you into cabbage soup.
Please don't. I hate that. So, the stepmother tells the father to drive down the road, right? She's like, this is how you're going to get to the bridegroom. You're going to drive down the road, and then you're going to take a right, like, into the forest.
Okay.
And then you're going to go up a hill until you get to a really, really tall tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to put Marfa under the tree, and then you're going to leave, right?
And he's like, classic directions to somebody's home. Yes, yes.
And he's like, okay, who am I meeting by this tree? And she's like, oh, Frost. The cold, the spirit of winter. So basically she's saying like, yes, let's marry her off to being dead of cold.
And the dad's like, okay.
Yeah.
You're a villain in this, sir. You don't get to be a hero in this story.
Yeah, both Marfa and her father fall silent as they're eating. The father is so shocked that his mouth falls open and all of the food falls out. That's not a joke. That's in the story.
You're wasting all that good bread. And everyone runs forward and they grab the bread sludge off the table and they immediately start eating it. Not in this house.
And the stepmother says, "Oh, I'm sorry, are you upset about that? Like, Frost is, as a concept, is rich. See what belongs to him. The fir trees, the tops of the pine trees, and the birches, all of them in their robes of down. He's so rich he's got all these trees. Because he's like, you know." I mean. So the father is not happy about this, but he does it anyways.
Because he's a villain.
Yeah, so he bundles Marfa into the sledge and drives her wordlessly into the forest, up the hill to the pine tree, and then he like unloads her and her little basket of stuff, and then just turns around and leaves without a word.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not without a word. He says, "Sit here and await the bridegroom."
He says, later. Anyway, Yeezys. He likes
Hey, have a good one.
He skateboards away.
Downhill. In the snow, in the rest of the winter time.
He nods his head really fast and his sunglasses fall down in front of his face. And he's like, anyway, skull. He's like, Dad, what?
Yeah, nobody says that.
Ooh, cringe.
So he says, "Sit here and await the bridegroom, and mind you receive him as pleasantly as you can," and then wordlessly goes home.
There's no bridegroom. Sit here and wait to die, Marfa.
Mm-hmm. So, Marfa sits under the tree and she waits because she's very obedient.
Oh, gross.
And she is freezing to the point that, like, she realizes no one is coming and she goes to cry out, but her breath freezes in her throat, so she can barely speak.
You haven't seen Titanic yet, but that's a pretty sick Titanic reference that you just made. Nothing.
Okay. And then she hears a sound. And I'm going to read this line for you. "Not far off, Frost was cracking away on a fir tree."
Oh, God.
Frost with a capital F.
Yeah. So he's just, like, fucking masturbating onto a fir tree?
No.
He's cracking away on this fir tree.
That's not a term. I don't believe you.
Slut!
this person being Frost, kind of like a Jack Frost-like figure.
Yeah, he is.
He's jumping from treetop to treetop through the forest and snapping his fingers and making like a cracking sound. So like, you know when it's like really cold and you're in the woods and you hear like the cracking sound of all the like branches creaking. Whew.
Well, are you okay?
No.
Oh my god, what is happening? Look, you just got possessed.
That's how it felt. Like all the branches creak and everything makes like a cracking sound.
That's kind of hot.
Yeah.
A man just like jumping from tree to tree, snapping like he's in West Side Story.
So this is why I wanted to tell this story, because I was reading this and I was like, and he's like snapping from tree to tree. And I was like, oh, like this is just a description of him moving and it's making the snapping sound. And then they clarify, no, he's snapping his fingers like he's in fucking West Side Story.
When you're a jet, you're a jet. When you are Frost, you're a Frost.
So he's just leaping from tree to tree. And he jumps onto the tree above Marfa. And he says, "Art thou warm, maiden?"
Obviously not, asshole.
And Marfa says, warm am I, dear Father Frost."
Ew. Ew, if he's gonna be your husband, please don't call him Father Frost.
I also agree with that. That was another thing where I was like, this is gonna be bad and I don't like it. Because she's been, she's learned not to complain. She's learned to be very polite. Her father warned her, like, receive him as graciously as possible. So she said, no, I'm totally fine. Super warm, having a great time. Yeah.
Her teeth are like breaking as they chatter.
Yes. That is almost exactly the description of how this is happening.
Great.
I'm gonna be really clear, I'm not like exaggerating what's happening here.
I love this. This is hot as hell. Go.
So he is at the top of the tree and he's snapping.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's terrifying. Never mind.
Hang on.
This is a roller coaster for me. I'm nervous.
So he's snapping and she says, no, I'm totally warm. And so he starts to crawl down the tree towards her, still snapping.
No!
At which point this becomes
spider!
Like skittering like a cockroach down the tree towards her and like snapping.
Max, I'm so upset. Ooh, everything just, I feel like I'm on fire.
And he says, "Art thou warm, maiden?
Oh my god.
Art thou warm, my dearest?" And she says, "Warm am I, father dear. Warm am I, Frost dear." And he keeps like racing down the tree and snapping faster. And he's like, "Art thou warm, maiden? Pretty one, my darling, art thou warm?" And she's... At this point, she's so cold that she's almost too weak to speak aloud. So she says in a whisper, "Oh, quite warm, Frost, dearest." And then he stops.
No.
Right above her.
No.
And he decides to take pity on her.
No! By killing her swiftly.
No.
I'm sorry. My fight or flight reflex is like going into overdrive.
I was reading this and I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
This is also the most animated I've ever seen you in my whole life. This is so scary.
Ooh. So
I'm telling this to my students when they annoy me.
You're just gonna start skittering towards them. Are you warm?
This is the scariest thing I've ever heard.
And so
I'm having an asthma attack. Go ahead.
So he finally decides to take pity on this poor girl who's not complaining. She's just willing to freeze to death quietly in the woods. And he's like, "I should reward you for that." And so he produces a bunch of warm blankets and very fine fur coats and everything, and he gives them to her. He wraps her up in the warm blankets and everything, right?
Okay.
So the next morning, the stepmother goes to the father and says, "Well, Papa, you nasty old man." Also, I should say, she insults her husband this whole time. She calls him Graybeard. She tells him that he's like a doddering fool. She is super mean to him.
And he's into it. That's kind of his thing.
Ew. And she says, "Drive out, Graybeard, and wake the young couple." Like, ooh, they've had their wedding night. You should go get them.
Jesus Christ, what an evil bitch.
Yeah, she's super evil.
But is she as evil as the weird frost spider that has skittered down a tree?
So Marfa's father drives out, fully expecting to find a daughter-sickle.
Marfa-sickle.
And he finds her under the tree, and she's bundled in all of these warm coats, and she's wearing a very expensive bridal veil, and next to her is a beautiful chest that is like jewel encrusted, and it's filled with rich and beautiful gifts, you know, like fine foods and spices, more furs, and like treasures, and like jewelry and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so the father, again, not saying a word, picks up all this shit that she's been given, puts it on the sledge, and then helps her onto the sledge and drives home.
I'm sorry, does this imply that they did have a wedding night?
No. I think it just implies that he, like, felt bad for her.
She's wearing a
and
bridal veil.
Her presents. I don't know.
I'm sorry, but if he's...
It does seem weird. It does seem like she fucked the snow spider.
Okay, I will also say she wasn't complaining. You know when you need to feed a snake or something like that, and so you put their prey into the freezer for a bit because it slows them down?
Mm-hmm.
That's what was happening. She wasn't not complaining about this weird giant man spider because she was, like, so obedient. She just didn't have any energy. It's all frozen.
Yep.
All her molecules were frozen.
The molecules.
No, her molecules.
Janey knows about science.
Oh, I am basically a science doctor.
Scientist?
I'm a scientist.
Janey! I have to communicate to you guys one of my favorite things that Janey's ever said is last night. She was sitting on the couch, and I went to sit down, and there were animals all over the couch, so there was nowhere for me to sit. And I said, "Where am I supposed to sit?" And then Janey, as far as I could tell, indicated her lap and said, "Come on in, the water's wet." Which is one of the funniest things that's ever happened in human history. Anyways.
Okay, go ahead.
Totally unrelated. So,
It's not related.
So the father and Marfa arrive at home, and Marfa falls down at her stepmother's feet, like sobbing in relief to be out of the cold.
Yeah.
The stepmother is shocked that Marfa is still alive, obviously, because she sent her out there to die. Again, the Russian winter.
Yeah.
And she is, like, just shocked, and so she, like, walks away. Later, she comes back, and she tells the father, she's like, "Okay, so Marfa sucks, and she got all these presents, right?
Oh, no.
So, here's what I think. We should bring my daughters, who are cooler, better, hotter, smarter, funnier, and better.
Yeah, harder, better, faster, stronger.
We should take them out. And, you know, if Frost gave Marfa all this nice stuff, imagine what they're going to give to my daughters who are actually good."
Am I ready to see what this monster does to these girls?
No, this is a horror movie.
Okay.
So the next morning, the two stepdaughters prepare themselves in their finest gowns, and they have all of their, like, fancy things that they put in their little baskets to bring with them. Their father brings them on the sledge to the same spot where he left Marfa and leaves them under the tree and leaves, right? These two daughters are not really named, but they're just under this tree, and they're kind of, they're like, "I'm sorry, why is mom in such a hurry all of a sudden to marry us off?" Like, and to some scrub, like, we've never even met him.
Yeah.
Like, we've been in the village lots of times, and, like, oh, what, so this is some guy we don't know? We had to, like, go out of town to get some guy. He must, like, either be, like, great, but also, like, if we have to wait out here for him, then he's gotta be not great. So, like, here's my question. Why aren't we marrying someone from in the village? Because, like, all the boys in the village are in love with us.
Yeah.
So, like, and so this is a conversation that they're having, but it doesn't really distinguish between the two of them. And they're just kind of, like, rambling on at each other. And they're like...
Also, they're making great points.
Yeah, like, one of them is like, "This Frost is skinning me alive. Like, who would send us two hotties out to wait in the cold? Like, who the fuck does he think he is? This is, like, super inconsiderate.
Also, he's
like,
gonna
why
marry
wouldn't he
both
just
of you?
meet us at the house?" And it's, like, the middle of the day, and, like, who goes courting in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah.
And, like, first of all, also, who is this guy that's asking for both of us? Like, is he gonna marry one of us or both of us? And then they start fighting with each other, and one of them is like, "I'm sorry, obviously he's gonna marry me because you're a stupid goose." And the other is like, "Okay, well, at least I'm not a gossipy bitch." So,
Oh, fuck.
And they're just, like, going back and forth like, "Okay, well, at least I don't have a stupid fucking ugly nose." It's like, "Okay, well, we have the same nose because we're sisters." It's like, "Okay, well, I pull it off."
Burn on you.
So meanwhile, they're just like kind of bickering under this tree and being like, who the fuck is this guy? And they begin to feel their hands growing still with the cold.
Yeah.
And so they tuck their hands into their dresses and they just keep arguing.
Really keep their energy up. Good.
And this is a quote. What, you fright, you sleepy face, you abominable shrew? You don't even know how to weave. Do you even lift, bro?
I adore these two sisters.
I also love them.
They are so fun.
And then the other one says, boaster, at least I'm not out on the town getting shit-faced.
Slut!
Like, I have hobbies
slut
besides...
like Martha.
At least, like, I have things that I do with my time, even if it's not weaving, at least I'm not, like, going out and making out with fucking everyone in the town. She's like,
constantly...
okay, well, at least I'm not just jealous because I don't get any attention. Like,
you're constantly getting a WWI, a weaving while intoxicated. You can go to jail for that, you stupid goose.
You stupid fucking goose. At this point, like, these two girls are turning blue from the cold.
Yeah.
It is getting colder and colder and colder. And frost is coming. They start to hear snapping at the top of the trees, except that they don't, because they're arguing.
Oh my god, no! They don't. He's gonna sneak up on them.
But as they're arguing, they kind of start to hear this, like, cracking sound, and they think that it's, like, a horse with a carriage in the snow.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're like, oh, finally. Oh my god, like, I thought we were gonna have to wait forever. Like, again, who is this asshole? Like, why couldn't he just come and meet us at our house? Like, it's really inconsiderate, honestly, and I'm not even sure if I want to marry him at this point, because, like, okay, like, whoa, come meet me in the woods, and it's gold. Like, come on, who do you think you are?
I agree. But also, he didn't ask anyone to be in his woods.
And the other one is like, my skin is peeling with this cold. And the other one's like, okay, so your skin is peeling and you're still expecting to get married to this guy? All right, good luck. And at this point, Frost arrives at the top of the tree that they're waiting under. He, like, leaps onto the tree and with a, like, resounding snap, he looks down at them.
This is Krampus.
And he says, are ye warm, darlings?
No. No.
These two girls look up and they're like, oh, Frost, it is awfully cold. We're utterly perished. We're expecting a bridegroom, but the confounded fellow has disappeared. And so Frost starts crawling down the tree, snapping. And he says, are ye warm, maiden?
They just said no.
And they say, get along with you. Are you blind that you can't see our hands and feet are quite dead? And he starts snapping harder and harder and, like, viciously almost as he's, like, moving faster and faster down the tree at them. And he says, aren't ye warm, maidens? And they say, into the bottomless pit with you, out of sight, accursed one. And then he reaches the bottom of the tree and the snapping reaches a fever pitch. And they get so cold that they die.
Oh, God.
They fucking die.
I am horrified.
He's so scary.
That's so scary.
So the next morning, the stepmother sends the father to get the daughters. She's like, make extra space in the sledge for all the presents that they're going to have with them.
Sure.
The father goes to where he left them, and he finds them both cold, frozen, and stricken dead.
Yeah.
He wraps them in blankets and he loads them onto the sledge, drives back home. The stepmother comes to meet him outside of the house, and she's like, oh, where are my daughters? And he says that they're in the sledge, and he takes the blankets off, and she sees that her two daughters are dead. She flies into a rage.
Okay. Weird first move.
Yeah. She whirls on the father, and she says, what have you done, you old wretch? You have destroyed my daughters, the children of my own flesh and blood, my never enough to be gazed upon seedlings, my beautiful berries.
My beautiful berries, no!
I will thrash you with the tongs. I will give it to you with the stove rake.
Oh my God. I'm gonna fuck you with a stove rake! Also, I'm gonna start calling summer and leaf my beautiful berries.
I'm gonna start calling everything my beautiful berries.
My beautiful berries.
Hey, have you seen my, oh, I need to make a call. Have you seen my beautiful berries?
My beautiful, beautiful berries.
Oh God, where did I put this fucking beautiful berries?
Oh my God. Hey, were you looking for your beautiful berries? Because I just found them.
So she is, like, screaming at the father, and the father finally says, that's enough, you old goose.
Oh,
A lot of goose-based insults in this, and I'm not mad about it.
Russia hates geese.
You flattered yourself you were going to get riches, but your daughters were too stiff-necked. How is that my fault? Basically saying that they're, like, too snooty and, like, pretentious and rude.
Or they just, like, froze to death.
Yeah, it's also a little too soon to say. And eventually the stepmother concedes that it's not his fault, and then they bury the daughters, and then she forgives Marfa for the crime of being born, and they live happily as a family, and then eventually their neighbor proposes marriage to Marfa, and they are married happily, and Marfa's father uses the story of Frost to terrify his grandchildren.
That's the end of the story?
That's the end of the story.
Oh.
So, thoughts. Give me your thoughts. Go ahead.
I've never been so scared in my life.
The idea of something massive skittering down a frozen tree towards you and snapping, absolutely terrifying.
Like a spider.
Like a
just
spider.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
That's the scariest story I've ever heard. I loved that.
Yeah, and also, like, knowing that he brings cold with him, asking if you're warm, terrifying. That's a serial killer move.
It is. Also, just leaving your children out there to die. I don't like that at the end of it, they lived happily ever after because she forgave Marfa.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted Marfa to take that fucking money and run.
I did too, but we didn't get that.
And her husband is still considered, like, a good guy. The husband, the dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is wild, because he is, like, never does anything to save anyone from anything.
I was like, at best, he's complicit. But he's not just complicit. He also actively drops them off to die.
Yeah, knowing that that's what's going to happen.
You're the one murdering. In fact, in a court of law, he would be the one charged. The wife might get, like, conspiracy.
Yeah.
But...
yeah.
He would be charged with murder.
Mm-hmm.
That's the villain. The true villain is the man doing the murdering.
Yeah. I was also mad that at the end, Marfa got married, and there wasn't a story about Frost coming to, like, be to like, hey, what's up? You're my wife and you can't get married.
That's my wife.
That's my wife.
When you're a Frost, you're a Frost.
So.
Okay.
Are you ready?
No. But go ahead.
Frost, also called Morosco or Dead Moroz.
Okay, the word morose is in here a whole lot.
It just is literally the Russian word for frost.
I'm just saying it fits.
Morozko, the word for frost. Dead Moroz is
Dead Moroz.
Father Frost.
Okay.
He's Santa Claus.
He looks like Santa Claus.
He's the Russian Santa Claus.
This makes perfect sense.
He is the beloved Father Christmas, especially in Russia and especially in Uzbekistan. He's beloved. He's their Santa Claus. And this is a story about how nice he is for saving this girl when her family tried to kill her.
So you know how I actually almost made that thing when you said, like, when you were first telling the horrifying part where he's considering on the tree and he says, "Are you cold, darling?" I thought that he was going to say, "Ho, ho, ho." I almost made that joke, and then I was like, don't make that. It's just because I'm looking at the illustration and he looks like a blue Santa.
Yes. Yeah, he's literally Santa Claus, which is terrifying.
Okay, but so Russian.
How can you hear this story and be like, I can't wait for that guy to come down my chimney?
Hey, I am cold, Frost. I am. I mean, no, I'm not. I've never been warmer.
Fucking terrifying.
That's the scariest thing I've ever heard. But also, again, it's so fucking Russian. You know how I saw this on John Oliver, or last week tonight, where he was talking about how Putin does this annual, basically, radio show, or like telethon, where the Russian citizens can call in and ask questions, and he'll answer them. And a little girl called in and was like, "Hello, like, I was just wondering, what's your dream? Like, what do you wish for?" Or something like that. And if you could have any wish, what would you wish for? And Putin, real life Vladimir Putin, answered, "Wishes aren't real. Neither is, like, Santa Claus. There's no such thing as wishes or magic. Nothing happens like that. I never wish because that is not real. That's child's play and it's silly and you should not do that anymore." And also, John Oliver was like, "Holy fuck." He's like, Santa Claus isn't real, child. Neither is the Tooth Fairy, and your parents are gonna die.
One of the things I was reading about as I was reading about Den Moroz is that in like the Soviet era in Russia, for a while, depictions of Den Moroz or Morozka were like heavily criminalized because they were saying like, hey, you shouldn't be worshiping Santa Claus. You should be working.
It's so right. They're like, listen, we get it. We do like how terrifying he is. But we don't like that you guys like it.
Yeah, all of the depictions of him are like a friendly old man with like big berry cheeks and like, you know, his long fur coat. But like, again, he's described as racing down a tree and snapping. No. How could that ever be like wholesome?
Also, the way that you told it while snapping, genuinely terrifying. That's the scariest story you've ever told.
It's so scary.
I am scarred for life.
This is actually Arns Thompson Uther type 480 horrifying Santa Claus. No, it's type 480.
Type ho ho ho.
Type 480, the kind and the unkind girls. Because somehow the moral of the story is that
girls
the
need
daughters should be better and not stay out of the woods.
and not don't abuse your children.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Stay out of the woods.
Stay out of the woods. Fucking amazing.
Horrifying.
I don't think I'm ever gonna get over that. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm so scared.
The illustration is gorgeous.
Yeah, I have never been afraid of snapping before, but now that's a new fear of mine.
Yeah, me too, thanks.
You're welcome.
Holy shit. Well, I think we done did it.
Oh, yeah.
Shit. Guys, if you have nightmares, email Max personally. You can email us at sortofthestory@gmail.com. Just address it to Max and say, thanks for the fucking nightmares, you slut. She'll know what it means. Also,
maybe.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and Goodreads, Sort of the Story. Go to our bookshop.org affiliate account at Sort of the Story so that you can pick up this book. I'm going to list it in there as soon as this episode drops. So go do that.
And there's also a link to this book on Bookshop in the show notes for this episode.
And we also have a Discord, and we're eventually going to do stuff with that. And it's going to be fun. Right now, honestly, you can get genuine gold content, which is just Max every once in a while texting the Discord random fucking thoughts and memes, and it's the best thing ever.
So, you can find the link to our Discord in our link tree, which is on all of our social channels. So, come hang out with us.
Yeah, and we love you guys.
We love you.
Have a wonderful day, and stay out of the cold. Okay, so the microphones are on our halters that we have to wear.
The harnesses?
Harnesses.
Yeah.
We're also wearing really sexy halter tops.
I love it. Mine has a big hibiscus flower on it, and it's bedazzled.
Mine has the boobs cut out.
Oh, like so Regina George style?
Yeah, but I'm not wearing a bra, so also my boobs are flapping. and so you
It feels like it's going to be dangerous for the microphone.
Yeah, that's part of it. So they have to listen to my boobs flap against it, and the wind go through it, and also we have to tell stories as we fall.
Do they have to be stories about skydiving, or are they just the kind of stories that you'd want to hear or talk about while you're skydiving?
I guess it could be either, because I don't really want to structure this too much, because we're already doing so much.
Yeah,
I do think that instead of telling stories to ourselves, it should be part of it that we just start telling stories to the person we're in tandem with, and they don't know.
Assumed we were in tandem with each other.
Why would... That means one of us is... I have been skydiving once. I think I could do it.
I kind of figured that we were episode 50 is going to be the last one because we're going to die in a skydiving accident together. Is that not the plan?
That might be the plan now. Anyway, I always knew we'd go out together. Let me see if that worked.